You are not imagining it if you think it feels like we're getting our news through a fire hose lately. We certainly are, and the Thursday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show will hopefully reflect that. J.D. Vance, a guy you have known for 2.5 to 3 years, as he rose from being the author of a very popular book to your junior senator from the state of Ohio. Now the rest of the nation knows him, and it appears that a big part of the rest of the nation likes him. Of course, none of them live in Hollywood, and none of them have jobs at major media networks. J.D. Vance's speech last night at the Republican National Convention we will cover today here on the show, as well as what tone Donald Trump needs to strike tonight when he makes his first public remarks since surviving an assassination attempt on Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania. There's a lot of news surrounding that security fail in Butler, Pennsylvania, and a weird, inexplicable decision by Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle to show up yesterday at the Republican National Convention only to tell senators who could not get through on a switchboard to get their questions of her asked earlier in the day. She showed up at the convention. You would think, oh, she's here to answer questions. No, she was there to duck and dodge questions and say, this is not the time. This is not the place. Then what are you doing there? What are you doing there? Crazy. Also, we have the president of the United States, Joe Biden, testing positive for COVID. That's like the fourth headline I listed because it is really that spot on the priority list. It's clearer and clearer and clearer now that Joe Biden is not going to be atop the Democratic ticket for president in the fall. I wish I could change that. I wish I could guarantee that Joe Biden would be the alternative to Donald Trump on the ballot November the 5th, because Joe Biden would get what he most assuredly has coming to him, which is a political humiliation for what he has done to the United States of America, domestically and internationally. It's the only fitting conclusion to his political career. He typifies why our nation is in the peril that it is in today. People who make government their career. J.D. Vance is not that kind of politician. Bernie Moreno is not that kind of politician. Donald Trump is not that kind of politician. But Joe Biden is. Nancy Pelosi is. Mitch McConnell is. We got him on the Republican side. Sherrod Brown is. And Joe Biden, his incompetence, his fecklessness, first most clearly demonstrated with the Afghanistan withdrawal that he termed an extraordinary success, and the mothers and fathers and family members of the soldiers slain at Hamid Karzai Airport by a suicide bomber termed quite differently last night when they spoke powerfully at the RNC. Joe Biden deserves to exit with a landslide loss and the derision of his party for dragging them down and losing their majority control of the Senate and torpedoing the Democrats' hopes of taking the House. That's what he deserves. Instead, he will use either this latest bout of COVID, maybe you should have got your 12th booster, Joe, or some other reason that will be manipulated by the media to tell you that Joe Biden has accomplished a lot, and they'll mean it in a good way. He has accomplished a lot. It's just all been bad for our country, bad for the American worker, bad for our standing on the world stage, bad for our allies. Great for the drug cartels. Yeah, he's accomplished a lot for the drug cartels. They love Joe Biden. Chinese Communist Party, they love him. Why would Iran be trying to assassinate Donald Trump? Why wouldn't they be trying to assassinate Joe Biden? We hear all the time, oh, world leaders want me in power. Well, they want me to win the election. Yeah, including our enemies. Most ardently, they want you in power, Joe Biden. But this is the beginning. Well, it's not the beginning. It's the middle of the end for Joe Biden, testing positive for COVID. This will be, remember I said yesterday, there's a new reason why Joe Biden says he might leave the ticket. If I'm diagnosed with something, now I think we all took that to mean some sort of more debilitating illness than COVID, although COVID is a debilitating illness for people who are the ancient age of Joe Biden. So this will be what they use to get him off the ticket. Already yesterday, Adam Schiff came out. He was the most powerful of the largely irrelevant and unrecognizable Democrats who had previously said, Democratic House members who had said Biden needs to go. Schiff is different. Schiff is tied to Nancy Pelosi. Schiff is running for Senate in LA. It's not an accident that Adam Schiff comes out and says he's got to go. And we know that Chuck Schumer met with Biden. The guys on the Ruthless podcast reported that 2 days ago, that Schumer went to Biden and said, here are the polls. It looks bad. You said if they come and tell me I can't win. Essentially, that's what Schumer told him. And Hakeem Jeffries of the House, the air traffic controller, can't talk without moving his hands. Give him an orange cone. He'd be much more useful on an airplane, on an airport tarmac than he is as the leader of the Democrats in the House. Hakeem Jeffries saying, yeah, we're going to meet as a House and decide what he should do. Yeah, I think it's his decision. And now Senator Cory Booker yesterday said, Joe Biden's a hero and he'll come to the right decision. Well, he's already said what his decision is. Pelosi has said the same stupid thing as Cory Booker. Biden is going to be out. He's going to be out. May not last until Saturday as the Democratic nominee. He shouldn't be president another day. If he's too feeble and infirm to stand trial for his sloppy stewardship of classified documents, which in no way was he entitled to have. He was never president of the United States when he had those documents. They were in torn cardboard boxes in multiple locations with access freely available to his derelict drug addict son, who magically then showed up drawing an $80,000 paycheck from a Ukrainian energy company, even though Hunter Biden had no expertise in energy. Gee, I wonder if Hunter might have looked at any of those documents, or might have shared any of those documents with any of his partners in China when he flew over there on Air Force 2 with Joe, and Joe had no idea what Hunter was doing. Conspiracy theories, Bruce. You're a mega extremist. Yeah, I can also add 2 and 2 together. Influence, the Biden influence peddling scheme, classified documents, Hunter Biden, a career life loser, making millions and millions and millions of dollars. And the Bidens will make millions off his exit from this race because they have a war chest of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars sitting there. And trust me on this, they will find a way for some of those millions to find their way into Joe and Jim and Hunter and Jill's pockets, and they will be paid off so he will leave the race. There is no doubt in my mind that will happen. And so, who will Donald Trump be running against? I presume it'll be Kamala Harris. And you can say, that's an even bigger layup. She's worse off in the polls than Biden is. Yeah, well, that's before the 15th remake of Kamala Harris comes out in the media, and we hear what a heroine she is and how she's tough on crime in LA and the state of California, or not LA, she was San Francisco, because that's where Willie Brown was, and that's how she slept her way to the top. But who else will they put on the ticket with her? I find an interesting question. Some people say Josh Shapiro, governor, Pennsylvania. Now, let's just, for the moment, say they're right. Let's just say Josh Shapiro goes, sure, I'm down with that. Josh Shapiro presents a ticklish problem for Democrats in that Josh Shapiro is Jewish. And Josh Shapiro is, or at least he has been, might change. Power does funny things to people. Josh Shapiro has been fully supportive of, no, not Hamas, not Gaza, Israel. I want to see the Chicago convention with Josh Shapiro as the VP to Kamala Harris. I want to see that. I'm not sure I have enough popcorn in the house to watch that one. So Josh Shapiro is a problem, and then there's the Josh Shapiro problem in that, put yourself in his position. He's got a bright future in the Democratic Party because he's not as wigged out as AOC and the Squad and Gavin Newsom and some of the others. Josh Shapiro, if I'm him, I'm standing there going, well, you know what? I just might sit this one out and share some of Bruce's popcorn and watch my party get housed in the fall. And then they'll maybe realize that leftism isn't popular in America, and then the party will come back to me. And Donald Trump will serve his final term as president, and then in 2028, I can make a nice run at the White House. Now, I know, proximity to the White House is a powerful, alluring stimulant, but do Josh Shapiro or somebody who's nakedly ambitious, like, oh, sorry for the metaphor, uncomfortable, imaginative scene, who's just nakedly ambitious, Gretchen Whitmer, does she want to mortgage her political future? Tell me something. How relevant is Tim Kaine now? You say, who? Tim Kaine. You remember him? Hillary Clinton's running mate.
Partly sunny, pleasant. It'll be less humid this afternoon. The start of a nice stretch of comfortable weather getting underway. Our high today 80. Clear skies tonight and the low 58. Mostly sunny, terrific day tomorrow. The high at 81, and then sunny to partly cloudy. A little bit warmer Saturday, the high 85. Partly sunny on Sunday, the high 87, and then sunny clouds Monday. High Monday afternoon, 85. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
Government debt is now exploding by an unprecedented $1 trillion every 90 days. Think of that. It's a clear sign that our nation's finances are spinning out of control, and it's putting the savings of every one of you at risk. Hello, I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst and best-selling author and an evangelical leader. I'm deeply concerned about the impact this runaway debt is going to have on Christians like you who have worked hard to build your own nest egg for your family. To protect your financial future in these uncertain times, you need to diversify with something tangible and proven, like physical gold. That's why I recommend a gold IRA. To learn more, text FAITH to the number 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will rush you a free info kit on how to move your IRA or 401k to physical precious metals, tax and penalty free. So don't wait, just text the word FAITH to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold Group is the only company I trust. There's no obligation, so text FAITH to 989898, and I pray this information helps you achieve prosperity and peace of mind.
I'm CPA Brad Hennebert with Premier CPAs. And the true value of using a CPA is getting guidance throughout the year, not just at tax time. During the year, we can actively advise you on your financial and tax planning and other major business decisions, just like an outside CFO. Too often, when you see your accountant only at tax time, we're really only keeping score of what you did last year. We'll prepare a comprehensive tax plan to maximize your deductions and minimize the tax you pay, and present you with money-saving options you may not have ever considered. We'll update your financial position each quarter, so there are no nasty surprises at tax time. At Premier Tax CPAs, we like to have consultations with our clients throughout the year because important financial information is only useful if it's timely. At Premier Tax CPAs, we're a firm that can work with you and your business throughout the year to help you make decisions before it's too late. Give us a call at Premier Tax CPAs at 614-524-4888. That's 614-524-4888.
Hi, it's Bruce Hooley, hoping you will join me on July the 20th in Hilliard at the church next door for our Take a Stand, Be a Godly Man event. You can get tickets at 989theanswer.com. We have an abundance of bad leadership in our world today, and we need men to step up. Find out how to do that from a godly perspective. Our speakers include Doyle Jackson, pastor at the church next door, Tom Ryan, OSU wrestling coach, Bob Burney of 880 AM, The Answer, myself, and former Ohio State running back Master T. Join us July the 20th, church next door in Hilliard. Get your tickets at 989theanswer.com.
You'll sleep better knowing you got a great deal on a great mattress because you got it from Mac Mattress Outlet and the Discount Shopping Club. Right now, get a $500 certificate from Mac Mattress Outlet toward any mattress purchase for only $250. These certificates go fast, and when they're gone, they're gone. For details, log on to the Discount Shopping Club at 989theanswer.com.
Mattress Outlet.
Water. You rely on it daily. But what do you really know about it? There is so much more to H2O than you realize. Did you know that tap water provides us with a low-cost way to stay hydrated, public health and fire protection, and nearly every product that we use every day? The more you know about your H2O, the more there is to love. To learn more, visit drinktap.org. This message is brought to you by the American Water Works Association and your local water provider.
Well, yesterday it was Josh, and today it'll be Dwayne. Listeners to the show who have gone to brucehooley.com and clicked on the flooring tab in the upper right-hand corner, and soon we'll have beautiful new flooring in their home if they decide to proceed. You're not obligated to anything when you go to brucehooley.com and leave your information for beautiful new carpet or luxury vinyl plank flooring in your home. Looks like wood, looks like tile, very durable and waterproof, not just water resistant. No, I'll come to your home. We'll measure your space. We'll talk about what your needs are, what your wants are, and the decision will rest with you from that point on. At worst, I get to know you. You get to know me. At best, I get to know you. You get to know me. And you get to save money and beautify your home. So make it happen. Go to brucehooley.com. Click on flooring in the upper right-hand corner. Yes, we have all the major brands, all the ones you've heard about at big box stores. How can we sell them to you for less and get them in your home sooner and better, I would say, because we employ our own installers? Well, because we don't have the big footprint, the wrap vehicles, the mid-level management, and all that other nonsense that big box stores do. So check it out, brucehooley.com. Flooring tab, upper right-hand corner. The Republican National Convention so far has been very well done, extremely well done. They've done a great job bringing speakers to the stage, sticking to themes, make America work again, make America safe again. They have had mothers speak about the children that they lost due to fentanyl poisoning. I presume before this is all over, unless I missed it, we will see someone who has been victimized by illegal alien crime. We had the families last night of the victims of the Kabul bombing. Man, that was riveting and hard to watch all at the same time. I had a really hard time not tearing up watching those moms and dads talk about their children who lost their lives in service to this country, who Joe Biden completely forgot in his debate with Donald Trump, and who Joe Biden has never visited, never called, never expressed condolences to in any way, shape, or form. But last night was about J.D. Vance, and this is the only criticism I have of the RNC, is if you want to introduce J.D. Vance to the rest of the world, you got to put him on stage before 11 o'clock at night, which, you know, I just couldn't stay up for it. Now, I'll stay up tonight for Trump because that's a historical event. JD, obviously, a speech I can watch online. And I know JD, so I didn't have to get to know JD. You know JD as well. I'm not trying to play the, I've interviewed JD dozens of times card, which people who say that likely haven't. A few times, yes. Dozens of times? No. So JD Vance last night speaking at the Republican National Convention. This is a portion of his speech, and it's a story that is embraceable to everyone but those on the left.
Now, never in my wildest imagination could I have believed that I'd be standing here tonight. I grew up in Middletown, Ohio. A small town where people spoke their minds, built with their hands, and loved their God, their family, their community, and their country with their whole hearts. But it was also a place that had been cast aside and forgotten by America's ruling class in Washington. When I was in the 4th grade, a career politician by the name of Joe Biden supported NAFTA, a bad trade deal that sent countless good jobs to Mexico. When I was a sophomore in high school, that same career politician named Joe Biden gave China a sweetheart trade deal that destroyed even more good American middle-class manufacturing jobs. When I was a senior in high school, that same Joe Biden supported the disastrous invasion of Iraq, and at each step of the way, in small towns like mine in Ohio, or next door in Pennsylvania or Michigan, in states all across our country, jobs were sent overseas and our children were sent to war. And
now I'll stop it there because I want to reflect on some of the things he said. And one of the complaints that people on the Republican side of the aisle have with J.D. Vance is that he doesn't balance the ticket, okay? That he's not a true conservative. That he's a populist and he's a Donald Trump rubber stamp and he'll govern just like Trump. Maybe. Let me ask a question. Would that be a bad thing? Would that be a bad thing? I know in past years it's become popular, past decades, to balance the ticket with the person who finishes second to you in the primary. John F. Kennedy did it with LBJ, and obviously Ronald Reagan did it with George H.W. Bush. Is that necessary now? Are we in a different, more perilous situation as a nation now? Do we need to make a binary choice between leftism on the Democratic side of the aisle? It's not like they're moving to the middle. Why should we move to the middle? Why should we bring in a Nikki Haley? Did you watch Doug Burgum's speech last night? It was early in the evening. Be glad you missed it. Doug Burgum, nice guy, brilliant businessman, make a great head of the Department of Energy. Doug Burgum, VP? No. J.D. Vance last night struck a tone that I think when he talks about things like Middletown, Ohio, and the decline of the steel mills in Middletown, and he talks about NAFTA, and he talks about Middle East wars. If you got to be honest, you got to say, you know what, Republicans, we're fine with that too. Bill Clinton could have never got NAFTA passed. He didn't pass it he didn't pass it along party lines. He passed it. It was a bipartisan thing, NAFTA. Everybody, or at least a majority of people, thought it was a good idea with NAFTA. Turns out it was a bad idea. Sometimes you have to make a mistake and admit your mistake. J.D. Vance now says he made a mistake when he denigrated Donald Trump in 2016. I find that to be not necessarily endearing, but I find it to be a positive. I want smart people to not be so intractable in their positions that they can rethink their positions based upon new evidence. I like to think I do that. I like to hope that you do that. So I don't think we have to bring in, or let me say, we do have to bring in the Nikki Haley fans. We do have to bring in the old guard Republican conservatives. But much like if you're in a school district that has been overwhelmed with new residents and they've put crazed leftist lunatics on your school board, and now things are happening in your schools that you wouldn't prefer have happen, you would, if you could, dial the clock back and prevent new people from forcing you to become them. You would rather they would come in and share your values and they would become you. That's how I feel about Donald Trump and J.D. Vance on the Republican ticket. Is I've seen Donald Trump's policies. I've seen them work for 4 years. I don't want him to water them down. I don't want him to dumb them down. I don't want him to thin them down, to dilute them down. Okay? I want him to double down. Now, you can't always do that because sometimes the other side moves to the middle and they become more appealing because your positions are, you know, a little bit outside what people in the Nikki Haley faction are comfortable with. But I don't sense that this is that kind of election. Grocery prices, gas prices, international instability, the border, all those things. The Democrats have done so poorly. This is the time to move from the middle, to move back to the foundations of America. And Trump and Vance are the ones to do it.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Former President Trump's vice presidential running mate has introduced himself to America. Senator J.D. Vance took to the stage last night at the Republican National Convention.
And I'm proud to say that tonight my mom is here. 10 years, clean and sober. I love you, Mom.
Prime Minister Netanyahu has made a surprise visit to troops in southern Gaza days before his speech to the U.S. Congress. Wall Street stocks in negative territory now. This is SRN News.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-727-9105. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105.
Because truth is not a left-wing value, and the left lies as easy as you breathe. You need the clarity and wisdom of Dennis Prager every weekday afternoon from 1 to 3 on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-727-9105. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105. 800-727-9105.
Laura Trump provides a fresh and honest perspective on the issues that matter to you on the Right View podcast, now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
The number of Americans, and I think this is part of the problem right now, the number of Americans getting their news from TikTok quadrupled in the past 3 years. It really kind of terrifies me for what is to come for this country.
Subscribe to the Right View on Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 98.9TheAnswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
Sleep is good, but if you're not getting it, that's really bad. So make sure you are doing everything you can, not in a democratic fashion, actually accomplishing something by going to mypillow.com. No, this is not like Democrats telling you they're doing everything they can to lower gas prices while buying oil from Venezuela and other locations around the world rather than drill for it themselves right here. No. When you do everything you can, you go to mypillow.com and you see, look at that. The original MyPillow, queen size, is just $25. Didn't Bruce say that he paid like $80 for his when he bought it 8 years ago? Wait, is he still using the same pillow that he's been using the last 8 years? Yes. And is it still doing the job, holding its shape? Yes, it is. I don't wake up with neck pain. Do you? Do you toss and turn? Do you look for the cool side of the pillow? No, and no. You're $25 away from fixing that issue. And by the way, while you're there, browse the specials on Giza Dream Sheets. $59.98 for a queen size set. Sheets, the pillow, you'll be sleeping soundly. MyPillow.com, promo code Bruce. So Ohio Senator J.D. Vance last night, speech getting mostly positive reviews from Republicans. There are a few turds in the punch bowl. One of them, Noah Rothman of the National Review, who seems like every time Noah Rothman is on Hugh Hewitt, Noah must have some kind of contract I'm unaware of where every word he uses that's 4 syllables or more gets him a cash bonus. Noah is what I'm talking about when I talk about the fact that there are factions of the Republican Party that have long ago lost their worthiness to be listened to. We need their votes, but they're not in charge anymore. And they need to know they're not in charge. And J.D. Vance's selection by Donald Trump shows that Trump doesn't want them in charge. I'd be curious to know how Trump looks back on his first term, really. Accomplished a lot, of course. That's why I have no problem voting for him and advocating for him in a second term. But I bet he also, because he's geared this way, recognizes that there were some pretty considerable failures in his first term. When you have the House and when you have the Senate and you have the sentiment to build the wall on the southern border and you don't get the southern border wall built, that's a failure. And when you say you're going to drain the swamp, and then after you leave office, the swamp does everything it can, they're Democrats after all, to suck you down into the muck and the mire where you cannot breathe, where they take away your wealth, Letitia James, where they try to take away your freedom, Alvin Bragg, where they try to brand you a traitor, Jack Smith, and where they try to brand you a dictator, Fonnie Willis. All the lawfare, I think now Donald Trump has a much clearer idea of how deep the swamp is. I think he also realizes that it's going to take him more than 4 years to drain it, and he only has 4 years to pull the plug himself, and that is why J.D. Vance is also a smart choice as vice president. Now, there are two women in J.D. Vance's life that have shaped his life. Actually, three, but only two could be at the Republican National Convention last night. One, of course, is his late grandmother, who he calls Mamaw, who he tells endearing but somewhat, uncomfortable at parties stories about. One of them, he said last night in the speech, was that JD was hanging around with a kid in Middletown early in his life who Mamaw knew sold drugs. And she told JD, if I see you hanging out with him again, I'm going to run him over with my car and no one will ever find out about it. Again, that's a story, you probably wouldn't tell at a cocktail party hosted by Noah Rothman and Jim Garrity and the other tutters at the National Review. But it's also an endearing story, because if you've got a child and you see a child in peril, while it may go against your better inclinations and your better angels, if that's the only avenue you had, it would at least flash across your mind. But two of the three women who have shaped J.D. Vance's life were at the convention last night. He was introduced by his wife, Usha Vance, and she is a fantastic lawyer. You don't get to be a clerk for Chief Justice John Roberts of the Supreme Court without being one. They met at Yale Law School. Here is Usha Vance on J.D. Vance and the close of her introduction of him last night at the Republican National Convention.
The JD I knew then is the same JD you see today, except for that beard. And his goals in this new role are the same that he has pursued for our family: to keep people safe, to create opportunities, to build a better life, and to solve problems with an open mind. It's safe to say that neither JD nor I expected to find ourselves in this position. But it's hard to imagine a more powerful example of the American dream. A boy from Middletown, Ohio, raised by his grandmother through tough times, chosen to help lead our country through some of its greatest challenges. I am grateful to all of you for the trust you have placed in him and in our family. And with that, it is my great privilege to introduce my husband and the next Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance.
Now, Trump will speak tonight, and the tone that he will strike, I hope, is one of unity and gratitude and a visioning for the future. Before we get into a piece that I found this morning that I want to share with you, I want to let J.D. Vance talk about the other woman in his life who was there at the convention last night, and that is his mother. Now, he was not raised by his mother. His mother was immersed in drug addiction. And I told you the story yesterday that there was a time J.D. shared in a podcast interview with Megyn Kelly where his mother put him in the car and was driving at a high rate of speed and told JD, I'm going to crash this car intentionally and kill us both. That's the kind of upbringing JD Vance had. It was interesting to hear Noah Rothman this morning, by the way, spouting on the Hugh Hewitt show that JD Vance's tough upbringing is somehow inauthentic because his family made bad choices that put him in a broken home. Yes, it's always the 6-year-old's fault when the mother falls into drug addiction, Noah Rothman. What a buffoon. But here's JD Vance last night, his mother sitting in a place of prominence next to House Speaker Mike Johnson, JD Vance shouting out his mom.
And I'm proud to say that tonight my mom is here. 10 years, clean and sober. I love you, Mom.
Now she stands and blows a kiss. She's tearing up. Mike Johnson is clapping. She turns to Mike Johnson and she says, "That's my boy. That's my boy." So have at it, Democrats. Do all you want to denigrate JD Vance and his triumphant achievement of the American dream. I say achievement because I told you yesterday. If you want to live the American dream, you have to make the American dream happen. It's available to everybody. Ben Carson made it happen, right? A lot of people have made it happen. It's not only, is it harder for some to make happen? No doubt. It's way harder for some to make happen. But is it achievable? Yes, it is. Make good decisions. Surround yourself with good people. There's, of course, no better decision than you can make than to cede the ultimate authority in your life to Jesus Christ and to God, who should have all the authority in every life, but doesn't. That's why we have a broken world. But JD Vance has made some really, really good decisions, surrounded himself with some really, really good people, tough people, maybe not people who could get invited to a cocktail party thrown by the National Review. But JD Vance has lived the American dream because he's made the American dream happen. Now, Donald Trump's a much different character. Donald Trump, born into privilege. Has he built on that? Yeah. Has Donald Trump done what a lot of sons and daughters of privilege do, which is live off their trust fund? They're never going to exhaust it. They're never going to live in poverty. They're never going to sink so low as the circumstances like JD Vance grew up in. But there are a lot of people who are born into privilege who don't build upon that privilege and make life better for themselves and for others. Did you see Donald Trump's granddaughter speak last night at the convention? I mean, Donald Trump has a beautiful family. Does he not? Like, look at Eric. Look at Don Jr. Look at Tiffany. They're a loving family. Are they perfect? No, they're not perfect. Shall we contrast the two families? The one in the White House and the one that was formerly in the White House before this one currently there moved in? Shall we contrast the leadership at the top of those families? Is it any coincidence that the dumpster fire train wreck Biden family reflects that sort of leadership in Joe Biden's presidential decisions?
It'll be less humid this afternoon. The start of a nice stretch of comfortable weather getting underway. Our high today 80. Clear skies tonight and a low 58. Mostly sunny, terrific day tomorrow. The high at 81, and then sunny to partly cloudy. A little bit warmer Saturday, the high 85. Partly sunny on Sunday, the high 87, and then sun and clouds Monday. High Monday afternoon, 85. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
This is Josh Pick with Aptus Wealth Management. The U.S. and the world have certainly changed a lot in the last few years. We're facing money dangers that we haven't seen in a long time, maybe ever. Inflation continues to be a problem. Interest rate increases have made purchases like cars and homes seemingly impossible for some, and retirement looks like a scary proposition. For many, it appears to be a dire situation and has left them paralyzed and fearful. You are not helpless, and there are ways to gain back control. At Aptus, we help our clients navigate the labyrinth of retirement planning and educate them on how to make appropriate choices for their individual situation. Whether you have never met with a fiduciary investment advisor before, or you just want a second opinion, we're here to help. Call our office today at 614-917-1040 and learn how a cost-free complimentary meeting may be the key to putting your money to work and your mind at ease. And don't forget to listen to the Aptus Blueprint Radio Show Friday evenings at 6, Saturday afternoons at noon, or call our office today at 614-917-1040.
Hi, I'm Charlie Moon. I've been in the trading game for almost 20 years, and I just discovered the most powerful trading tool I've ever seen. So if you're trading stocks or options, then listen up. This new AI-powered trade finder can find you stocks to consider trading, which have had gains as high as 1,729% and have had nearly perfect win rates. It analyzes the entire stock market in seconds and pumps out a list of trades for you to consider every single morning. And the trades it finds can be potentially profitable regardless of which direction the market is moving. So if you want in on this action, listen closely. For a short amount of time, I'm opening up free access to some of these picks and giving you the chance to get top trade ideas from the AI Trade Finder every day for 100% free. Just text trade to 76626. Stop trying to find the right stocks to trade on your own. Just text trade to 76626 now and get access to the top trades our AI finds every single day. Text trade to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Text trade to 76626.
Hey seniors, looking to make your mark in a close-knit community that's passionate about your academic and spiritual growth? It's not too late to join our vibrant campus this fall. Ohio Christian University offers a nurturing environment where you can thrive both academically and spiritually. From engaging classes to a faith-based supportive community, we're here to help you succeed. Embrace new opportunities and join Ohio Christian University, a community that cares about your success. Apply now at ohiochristian.edu/apply and start your journey with us in August. Your future is bright, and we're here for you.
Join me, Dennis Prager, on an unforgettable Bible cruise to the Caribbean, November 29th to December 8th, 2024. Imagine 9 days of basking in the sun, surrounded by the stunning beauty of a tropical paradise. Amid profound conversations, I'll share about the Bible and my insights into current events in a way that I believe you will really enjoy. Secure your spot on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure by calling 855-565-5519 or booking online at PragerBibleCruise.com.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and want to see what Salem Surround can do for you, Google Salem Surround Columbus. Remember to Google Salem Surround Columbus today.
Hey, if you're like me, you enjoy watching a good thoroughbred horse race in the spring, whether it's the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, or the Belmont Stakes. And always, of course, the best part of that race is when the announcer says, down the stretch they come, right? That's when you know it's starting to get excited. Well, we're in the same situation when it comes to tickets for the Take a Stand, Be a Godly Man event on Saturday at the Church Next Door in Hilliard. We are in the home stretch, my friend. You need to go to 989theanswer.com and you need to get your tickets because you want to start your Saturday with inspiration from speakers like Doyle Jackson, the pastor at Church Next Door, Tim Throckmorton, director of the Family Research Council, Bob Burney, my colleague at 880 AM, Tom Ryan, Ohio State wrestling coach, Master Teague, former Ohio State running back, and yes, myself. So we will serve you a breakfast item, and then after our 2-hour program, which starts at 9 and ends at 11, we will have a cookout. Lots of time for food and fun and fellowship and inspiration. Church Next Door. Tickets $25 adults, $20 for kids 17 and under. Hope to see you Saturday. Church Next Door in Hilliard. Get your tickets at 989theanswer.com. So Joe Biden has COVID. This is another blow to Biden's attempts, his white knuckle attempts to stay at the top of the Democratic ticket, and I want him to stay at the top of the Democratic ticket. I want him to stay there because, to me, he's the easiest candidate to beat because the media cannot rehabilitate Joe Biden's image. Once you have seen Joe Biden struggle to get up the stairs of Air Force One, look for it yesterday on social media if you haven't seen it, you can't rehabilitate that. They also can't rehabilitate him as a vigorous candidate, although I just had somebody say Somebody just sent me a meme of Joe Biden, at least the face of Joe Biden superimposed upon Trump's face in the iconic Trump photo from Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania. Joe Biden is pictured surrounded, just like Trump was, by Secret Service agents thrusting his fist in the air, only they've also superimposed the rainbow flag behind Biden instead of the United States flag. And then the caption on the picture says, Biden after beating COVID. Yes! That's the lengths they'd have to go to rehabilitate Joe Biden. Okay? They can't do it. That's why I want him on the top of the ticket. Kamala Harris, oh, she'll be such a historic figure. She'll be, you think Karine Jean-Pierre is historic as the press secretary, as the first gay, black, female, black, gay press secretary. She'll be minuscule in her historic nature next to Kamala Harris. You just know that's coming, right? Oh, fresh face Kamala. So fresh, so face. Yes, of course. So I want Joe Biden at the top of the ticket. I wish him well. I don't want him to die of COVID. I want him to get well soon and get back on the horse, like he said to Lester Hayes. I bet on that horse. It's a hobby horse, I guess. Here was Joe Biden in his sit-down interview with Black Entertainment Television before he was diagnosed with COVID. And by the way, I noticed Joe didn't have a mask on when he was around all those people yesterday who were helping him get on Air Force One and probably helping him change his clothes on Air Force One because he was in different clothes when he exited the plane in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware than he was when he got on. But here's Biden in his sit-down interview with Black Entertainment Television. I'm not a political consultant, but I will play one here just this once on radio. If you're going to sit down for an interview with Black Entertainment Television, it would probably be a good idea not to forget the name of your Black Secretary of Defense.
It's about making sure that one coming, for example, look at the heat I'm getting because I named the Secretary of Defense a black man. I named Ketanji Brown. I mean, because of the people I've named. It's about making it clear that American history is Black history. Black history is American history, and it's being built by it. That's why we're strong.
It's about being clear, except I can't remember the name of the guy who I just referred to as the black guy. He just referred to Lloyd Austin as the black guy. He also says he's getting a lot of heat. He got heat for Lloyd Austin because they had to make a special dispensation to a rule to make Lloyd Austin the Secretary of Defense. It had something to do with the length of his service time lapse or something. And he's not getting heat over Ketanji Brown Jackson being black. He's getting heat over Ketanji Brown Jackson not knowing what a woman is. So this is the Obama strategy, right? Oh, you think my DACA policy stinks? You're a racist. No, you could be as white as, the driven snow. Your DACA policy would still stink. But they always have to use the cudgel of race to prop themselves up and to beat you down. Will this continue to work in this upcoming election? Gee, I know. I hope not. Like you, I hope not. But when you have a card that is, or when you have a hand that is not full of literally or figuratively Trump cards, it is the hand you are forced to play. And Van Jones, CNN commentator, does not sound too happy about the hand that he has been dealt.
If you pull back and look at this thing, strength versus weakness, a bullet couldn't stop Trump. A virus just stopped Biden. You've got the nominees of this party getting their butts kissed. Biden's getting his butt kicked by his own party. The Democrats are coming apart. The Republicans are coming together.
Doesn't sound good for Vance's side. They appear to be down. They appear to be on the wrong side of a Jim Tressel blowout, which is you're down 2 scores and there's only time for you to have the ball once. Now, I got to not spike the football before the game is over. We're at halftime, ladies and gentlemen. We got a big lead, but I don't even know if we have a big lead. I will say this about the polls. national polls do not reflect how the Electoral College will turn out. The polls you need to pay attention to are in the battleground states. Kamala Harris's image will be rebuilt. It will be remanufactured. It will be repackaged. But you know what? There isn't time to fix inflation, the border, the international instability. Mark Thiessen, Washington Post, makes that point.
It doesn't solve the Democrats' problems to get Joe Biden off the ballot. Look, anytime you have a president who's cognitively impaired, that's a problem. But it wouldn't be as big a crisis if the economy was, if the inflation was low, the world was at peace, the border was secure. It's all of these problems. And if you get Joe Biden off the ballot, Americans are still paying $125 for a $100 basket of groceries. They're still paying $30 more at the tank to fill up. And so changing the standard bearer, if changing the standard bearer was a solution, the Tories would still be in power in the UK. They changed their standard bearer 3 times, from Boris Johnson to Liz Truss to Rishi Sunak. And here's the problem. Which Democrat wants to be the American Rishi Sunak?
Don't know. We'll see, because I think Biden is figuratively on his last legs as a candidate. And I want to share with you the writing of David Samuels on a website called Unheard. And you and I both know the rehab will be untenable to listen to about what a great historic person Kamala Harris is. But David Samuels writes this: Trump's heroic response to an attempt on his life is a reminder of the extent to which, even in our technologically mediated universe, the arts of narrative manipulation and framing only reach so far. At the core of every story is a human being whose character, as expressed through his actions, will be judged favorably or not by his or her fellow humans. Such stories being especially important in societies where people elect their leaders. And then he turns his attention to Trump's behavior and the impact of it since Butler, PA. David Samuels writes, in the 24 hours following the assassination attempt, Trump seized the future with 2 bold moves. The first was attracting the public endorsement of Elon Musk, the technologist and builder who also happens to be the single wealthiest man in America. By uniting his charisma with Musk's, Trump showed that he is not simply the backwards-looking, angry candidate of 2016 looking to make America great again. Rather, he is seeking to make the America future great, which is a different, more inspiring, and potentially more unifying sentiment. A heroic Trump has energized his base and proven his personal courage while laying claim to the future, and that is likely to have a significant appeal to American voters. Boy, let's hope so. Let's hope Trump strikes the right tone tonight.
Let's see, if something costs less and people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, right? And that is MetaShare, an amazing program. Maybe you've heard switching to MetaShare to pay for healthcare can save families up to $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The member satisfaction rate for MetaShare is double that of typical health insurance plans. Double. MetaShare Works has been around for 30 years, and members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a nationwide PPO network. So yes, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you want to just plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes and see what you can save. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here is the number you need, 844-94-BIBLE. That is 844-94-BIBLE. 844-94-BIBLE.
Find us at 989theanswer.com. Download our apps. Stream us 24/7. WTOH and WTOH HD1, Upper Arlington, Columbus.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. It's Donald Trump's big night at the Republican National Convention. White House correspondent Greg Cluxton has a preview from Milwaukee.
The former president has been here in the convention hall each night this week, but he'll address the crowd and the country for the first time at this convention as he accepts the Republican Party's presidential nomination for a 3rd time. After surviving an assassination attempt last weekend, he told the Washington Examiner that he had rewritten his speech for tonight's convention finale to focus more on national unity than on Joe Biden's policies. Greg Cluxton, Milwaukee.
Also at townhall.com, President Biden testing positive for COVID-19. Donna Warder has more.
President Joe Biden
I would
was in
imagine
Las
he is.
Vegas to speak
I'll
at
just give
the
you a thumbs
Unidos
up.
U.S. annual conference, but that appearance was canceled after Biden tested positive for COVID-19. In a Las Vegas interview with Univision Radio, Biden sounded winded as he talked about his performance in the first presidential debate.
I had a terrible night on the debate night. I have been exhausted. I had been traveling around the world. I wasn't ready.
Biden said, with age comes wisdom, and he said the Biden administration has gotten more done in 4 years than any other president has in a 4-year period. I'm Donna Warder.
Unemployment benefits rose again last week and appear to be settling consistently at a slightly higher, though still healthy level. The Labor Department reporting jobless claims for the week ending July 13th rose by 20,000 to 243,000. The total number of Americans collecting unemployment benefits rose after declining last week for the first time in 10 weeks. The Dow losing 254 points now, the NASDAQ off 200.
Okay, thanks so much for watching. Hour number 2 will be on the
It'll be less humid this afternoon. The start of the night.